Hey there, it's Pete over at the Sampleist, and we are celebrating with Vienna Symphonic Library, who have just marked their 20th anniversary. With a huge legacy of libraries to choose from, Vienna Symphonic Library are offering up to 40% off their VI series, Synchronized series and MIR products. If you're not sure what you might want to pick up, don't worry, this offer runs all through February. In the VSL Spotlight series of videos, we'll be taking a look at some of these libraries in composing situations and getting to grips with MIR Pro 3D. As a long-time Synchron user, I cannot wait to check out these other libraries and of course the gigantic space builder that is MIR Pro 3D. When I started planning these videos, it dawned on me that VSL have produced so many libraries over the last 20 years. And probably about 3 years ago, I started buying VSL libraries myself. I remember being quite daunted because there's the Synchron range, which is the latest range, and they are recorded on the Synchron stage in Vienna. And then we have the VI collection, and we also have the synchronized versions. So I didn't know where to start, so I actually bought the Big Bang Orchestra first. Absolutely loved it and jumped in with their strings, and I bought Synchron Strings 1 and Synchron Elite Strings, and that really started me off on my VSL journey, and very quickly they became a staple part of my composing template. And since then I've got the brass, the woodwinds, and yeah, so I'm a huge fan. But I've not explored the VI collection nor the synchronized collections. And then we've got some absolute gems like the Dimension horns and strings. So there's plenty to work through, and I had to work out a piece to start with. And my wife kept singing the dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy over and over again in the house for about a week. So I decided that is fate, divine intervention, and that is going to be my first mock-up. So you can see on the left, I've used the VI Celeste or Celesta from the VI percussion, and then I've used just the VI strings, and this is from the VI collection 1. And then synchronized woods, just to mix it up a little bit, and the Dimension French horn. And everything is going through MIR Pro 3D. And just to be really clear, the Synchron content, so the later libraries, they're not really designed to work with MIR Pro 3D. But when I was putting this mock-up together, and everything was very dry, and then as soon as I threw it into MIR Pro 3D and started mixing and playing with that, my goodness, it just took it to a next level. So let's have a quick listen, and then we're going to talk about what's going on. thought Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy was a great place to start. Not only do I love Tchaikovsky and the Romantic era, but it's a small enough ensemble that we can obviously showcase some really, really cool instruments and see what's going on within MIR Pro 3D. Now, I've mentioned MIR Pro 3D quite a lot, so I'm going to just quickly tab to it. And you can see it is putting your instruments in a concert hall, and then you can mix it in there, so all your panning's taken care of, and you obviously have the gorgeous reverbs and room space that each concert hall has to offer. Now, this one is the Mix Pack 7, which is the Salzburg Festspielhaus, and MIR Pro 3D is a standalone application that syncs with your DAW. So as soon as you start adding the plugin to each instrument, they start popping up in the space, and you can just pick them up and move them around. It's just a really, really cool, intuitive way of mixing. And you can move around the concert hall, you can rotate, zoom in and out, and you are there. I mean, the fact you can just sort of see what your performing space is like is really, really cool. So just going to go back to the orchestra or the ensemble, but we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. So let's just tab back to Cubase. Now, the reason I'm stressing that the VI instruments and the synchronized instruments and the dimension instruments are designed to run alongside MIR Pro 3D. Well, it's probably the other way around. MIR Pro 3D is designed to work with those, is because they're recorded very clean. So if I turn off MIR Pro and play the Celesta, it's dry, it's close, it's very, very detailed. Now, if I put MIR Pro back on, it's far more distant. And that is obviously because I have put the Celesta all the way at the back, where it should be. So yeah, we've got the reverb, got the room sound, and we have the placement of the instrument. So it's not just about, actually let's just go back. It's not just about panning left and right, it's also distance to and from the microphone as well, which is very, very cool. Yeah, so that is the Celesta. Now let's just play violin string pizzicato. So like I say, out the box, these are really dry. You can see they're all center as well. If I just press the tab, so you can hear they've moved more to the left, again where they should be, and you have reverb and room sound. So if we go the tremolo strings, I'll turn it off. Okay, I seem to have hit a key switch there. Let's just check that out. It's a good time to mention the Vienna Instruments Pro player. Again, if you're used to Synchron like I was, it is quite easy just going to the VI Pro player. So you have your instruments on the left and you have your articulations here, and they are key switchable. So if I'm going back to tremolo, yes, I crossfaded into staccato. Quite a nice feature. Yeah, so we have those, and then if I just go back to our mixer, I'll just turn them on. So again, far more distant. And then we've got the viola shorts. sound great. I'm not going to play every single instrument, but you get the idea. String basses, sorry, the basses. Yep. So you can just hear how dry they are. And they're incredibly responsive as well. And of course, in MIR Pro, they've got a lot more distance to them. Yeah, so that is some of the strings. And then this time for the woods, I used the synchronized woods. And again, these aren't recorded completely dry, but if you go into the mixer preset, you can select number 99, which is MIR unprocessed. He says that as I play a bass short. Okay, now if I turn off MIR Pro, just for a second, you can hear the difference. It should be very, very dry. And normally, when I'm using the synchron player, I'd just go for a, let's say, let's go distant. So I love the presets you get, but if you're going to use this with MIR Pro, you need to select 99 MIR unprocessed. And then we've got the oboe. The flute. Little computery glitch there. That's never happened before, recording. It's nothing to do with VSL or the software. Something just went on my computer. Okay, so that is the flutes, and they sound gorgeous. In fact, let's just use the flutes for a moment. If we jump into the instrument, again, very similar. If you use the synchron instruments, you got all the different articulations on the left. So if I was go for the legato, for example. Okay, something I wouldn't normally do, but I'm just going to crank it up. Yeah, it sounds absolutely stunning, and I do love these woodwinds. And it's just a good idea just to quickly whiz through a couple of articulations while we're here. So sforzando. So these are the dynamics. Forte piano. And of course, you can key switch all of these. Let's just go for a flutter tongue. And you get all manner of runs, arpeggios, mordants, and then we've got our short notes, so let's just play some staccato. On these legato rep. So these are legato, but they stop. So yeah, they sound fantastic. Let's just go back to the longs, because that's what it was on, for the purpose of the video. And then we've got the bassoon. And I am aware they're quiet, but if I turned off MIR Pro, they're a lot louder. And they got the English horn. Not an easy thing to sample convincingly, and Viz have done a great job. Sounds great. Just love the agility behind these instruments. And then we've got the Dimension French horn. And the Dimension instruments are in Vienna Instruments Pro as well. So, yeah, and I'll try to think. If I go to a preset, just the way it's all sort of built is through folder hierarchy, as it were. So Dimension trombones, etc. You can work your way through the brass, and yeah, as soon as you click on a preset and load one in, which I probably shouldn't have done, as I'm doing the horns. I'll go back to the horns. Yeah. But again, really easy to navigate through. Now we're going to talk about what's happening inside MIR Pro, because when you play, let's go from here. You can hear it all just comes together. Yeah, just like a full orchestral performance. To set up MIR Pro 3D was a really, really simple and straightforward process. Now, if I press F3 again, you can see that in order for each instrument to be seen by MIR Pro, you just have to add the MIR Pro plugin. And when you click on it, it will say the name and it color codes as I have them set up in Cubase. So if I go to the Cellista, see that one's blue. Now I did learn very, very quickly you cannot just copy them over like that, because if you do, you just copy over that instrument, so that doesn't work. You have to create your own MIR each time, and then each instrument's got their own separate MIR Pro, which is great. And then you don't really have to do much or anything here, really. You got some sort of simple controls, and you can see that it's just bringing up MIR Pro down the bottom for me. But I'm just going to get rid of that and tab over. So I apologise, that's a little bit messy. But now you can see that every single instrument is in MIR Pro. And what does it do? So if we... let's just start off with venue, because I worked my way through MIR Pro quite a lot and it's incredibly deep. But because I've only just kind of started with it, I went straight for the venue. And you've got three types of performance, sort of dry, wet handling. So if I go classical, which sounds really, really clean and majestic. If I go scoring, and then you got pop, which is noticeably louder but a bit drier for me. So I actually played back the performance using the scoring, but the classical, if I just set the dry wet so it's bang in the middle, so you can hear it obviously is a bit more wet. Let's go from the start. So you really are in that room. Now I went down to -30. So that for me was a really nice balance. And then what you can do, which is very cool, if you want to hear just the dry signal, you can. Then you can hear just the wet as well. I'm just going to go back to that section again. Yeah, so for me, I don't really use the term game changer too much, but as soon as I started hitting the dry and wet buttons and just hearing the comparison, it really just elevated and enhanced everything. And I've not ever used anything quite like it. Of course, I've got my go-to reverbs and, you know, absolutely adore, like we all do. But this, yeah, it's just something different and something else. But it is incredibly powerful. And when you click on an instrument, it's really, really simple. You just click on it and move them around. So if I want the oboes all over there, because they've been a bit naughty, we can do that. Or we just place them again where they should be. And they've got all these different controls. So you can actually mix the levels in MIR Pro. In Cubase, because I'm so used to it, as I was composing, I sort of roughly balanced them. And then you can see, depending on what you click on, I've changed the levels in MIR Pro as well once I'm in that room, because obviously the volumes all change due to the distance and the placement. You can change the dry wet ratio on the actual instrument itself. If I zoom in on this viola, you can change the width, make it sound incredibly wide or not, and the rotation, which is something I've not done. But if I do, you can see the sort of instrument signal points towards the microphone now. So they're all pointing forwards. So you can actually face them in depending where you were. So that is something I would have done and will do for subsequent videos. So really, really simple controls. Then you can mute. You can set the natural volume. You can solo, and then again, even more options. And dry signal handling, but I just really stuck to the mixing and spatialization. So yeah, really useful. And then if I go to the output, you can EQ the room. So for the wet only, so I don't know why I'm putting more top end on, but let's say I just want to bring out the middle. Personally, I don't really want to have that as my default, so I'm just going to go back to flat. But obviously we do EQ our reverb, so it's great that you have that built in there. And then you got all of these different microphones, factory presets. So again, it's called MIR Pro 3D, so it's designed to create 3D mixes and ambisonic mixes, immersive. We've got classical surround, classic stereo. The mix options are absolutely huge. And then once you've loaded one up and tweaked it to your heart's desire, you can save it into the user presets. Also, there's our microphone. You can change the position. So now it's front elevated. That's the end of the track, so I'm just going to go back again. You go mid. And you can see down the bottom right, I won't put my mouse there because it'll bring up my taskbar again, but it just loads really quickly. So that is the mid. And you can go back. So we are far away from the ensemble, but now we can add, which I'm going to do at the front, a second mic. And you got smaller options. There's no surround option down the front. Well, sorry, on the second microphone, not down the front. In fact, let's just put this one back to the front. And this one at the back. Okay, let's wait for that to load. And of course, you can pick up the mics and move them where you want and rotate them to adjust the sound. Sorry, so that's what happens if you play while it's loading. You get a little crackle. So I'm being quite extreme here, but you can hear the panning severely move left and right. Okay, so yeah, really cool. And if you just want to reset, just double click. Whoops. And yeah, your mic is back to the position you want it to be. I'm just going to turn off the secondary mic as well. So yeah, with the mic placement options, so you got distance as well as panning, and then you got all of these different styles. If I just do a 3D surround, let's do classic surround. Just load one up. We can hear what the difference is, and of course you're going to want your headphones on while you're doing this. It's going to go there. And we'll keep it where it is. Yeah, I just feel like it's really picking up more clarity. I'm just going to point, if I just do the string section, to the mic. So you can see you just have a lot of fun tweaking and playing around with the stage, and I don't know, it's very therapeutic, shall we say. And it's just that extra level because you're paying attention to what everything is playing, where the mics are in the distance, and yeah, it's ace. This video really has been a quick introduction into the world of VSL, specifically the VI instruments, which are recorded very dry, very close, very detailed. Then the synchronized instruments, which have been ported over to the Synchron player, but then you have the MIR Pro mix set. So they're very, very dry as well. And then you can put them into MIR Pro 3D and your mind can be absolutely blown. It is incredible between the wet signal and the dry signal. So the dry signal, again, very close, no room sound whatsoever. And then you can hear the power of MIR Pro 3D, which just takes everything to a new level. So again, I love my reverbs and I love building my room, but there is nothing quite like MIR Pro 3D for having so much control, shaping your sound, just moving every little nuance. It is, you know, it's mind-blowing software. Yeah, I'm, you know, verging on being speechless, which is quite difficult for me, believe me. Yeah, so VSL. The next video is going to feature the VI percussion collection. There's lots of amazing tuned and non-tuned percussion in that, and we're also going to be using different synchronized instruments, and I think the VI solo strings get a tiny peek through, but then my third video is going to focus on Appassionata strings and the Imperial piano. Yeah, it's just going to be lots of fun. So yeah, all I can say is thank you once again for checking out this Spotlight series video on Vienna Symphonic Library. It is amazing that they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. Maybe you can leave us a comment about your favourite VSL instruments, or maybe something you're planning on picking up. For me, I'm going to be delving into MIR Pro 3D a lot more. If you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and check out all of our other videos, and then head over to thesampleist.com to find out what is going on in the world of virtual instruments. Until next time, have a great day and keep making that music.